She's killed 99 folks. Yeah. Just got one left. And so she's holding off for now.
Yep, 99 problems, but tick ain't one.
Hey, Internet. It's Paul. It's Matt. The Dork Lords. When last you saw us talking about the boys, we were in the same room. I'm still editing that project, and it sounds like we're in a hallway talking to each other. So just in the interest of giving you guys the best possible product, we've gone back to video chat for now. We'll figure this out. But for now, video chat, talking about Lovecraft Country, Season 1, Episode 6, Meet Me in Daegu. Which, right off the bat, we're going to be talking about various Korean mythology and terms. I'm probably butchering some of these names. I mean no disrespect. I apologize. But I'll do my best. Anyway, so, yes, Meet Me in Daegu. It is a flashback episode. It's focusing on Jia, who we have met a few times already in this season. We've seen Atticus talking to her on the phone, and there's a vision of her fighting him at one point. So we've got a little bit of an idea of her, but here's where we really see her backstory.
Yes.
We open on Jia watching Meet Me in St. Louis at a little theater in Daegu.
Yes.
She imagines imitating Judy Garland dancing down the aisles. She's obviously seen this movie a few times, one would say. She's escaping into the movie. We end the episode with Jia meeting up with a shaman to ask if her prophetic vision of Atticus's death is true. I don't know that she really gets a yes, it's true thing from the shaman. The shaman's like, oh, you're going to see a lot of death. You're destined to see many more deaths.
Yes.
And it's kind of left at that. Like, oh, okay. I didn't ask that.
I wonder if she doesn't imply that doesn't have to be true, I think.
Okay.
Yeah. So maybe, rather than, it's just going to happen.
Gotcha. The idea that they spent an entire episode covering her backstory and how she meets up with Atticus signifies to me that she's going to probably come to the States.
Maybe.
One would think. Maybe through the, as you put it, maybe the magic elevator, the magic underground, up the whoop-deep, hey, I'm in Chicago.
That's right.
But somehow, I feel like, they've spent a lot of time on her. She has something to do with the plot going forward.
Makes sense.
I think maybe the best place to start is to try to just chronologically give the story of Jia. We learn it kind of, asymmetrically throughout this episode, but basically, I think if you take it from the beginning, Jia is a kid. Her mom has her out of wedlock, and so marries a guy to get respectability in the community. They're kind of outcasts, and so, I get respectability by marrying this particular person. He is sexually abusing Jia. The mom, in response, seeks out a shaman to say, hey, what can I do? Shaman conjures forth the spirit of a kumiho. It is a nine-tailed fox spirit that is now essentially in the body of Jia. So Jia in some ways is not technically there, although it seems like the kumiho has Jia's memories, but it is a spirit inhabiting Jia's body.
Well, it seems like more though the combined memories of the memory of being there and the memories of the people that she's killed.
Right. So she starts by killing the evil stepfather.
Yes.
And she gets his memories.
Yeah.
But then she finds out that she has to kill 100 men in order to have the Kumiho leave and Jia kind of return to, hey, look, I'm a person again. And so the mom wants her daughter back. So it's like, all right, keep killing.
Yes.
Go kill more people. And at this point, Jia, we'll call her Jia. Jia is now like an adult, so we assume years have gone by where she's like killing a couple a year, a couple a month, something like that. She is up to like 90 at the time, 90 kills at the time that we meet up with her. The Korean War breaks out. there's this thing about the communists and who's on whose side, and it's a very chaotic time in Korea. The Americans have come theoretically to save them, but one of Jia's nurse, she's a nurse.
Yes.
She's trained, and so obviously with the war on, there's a lot to do. But one of the people on her shift admits to her that she has communist sympathizing leanings.
Well, more than that, no, more than leanings, she's actually an activist. She's actually involved in insurrection.
And so she is identified as a spy.
Yes.
Well, there's a terrible way that the Americans figure out that she's a spy.
Yes.
But basically line up the people on the shift, including Jia, and they start shooting people in the head until one of them confesses to being the spy.
Yeah.
This is where suddenly Atticus shows up, shoots the woman next to Jia in the head, and then points at Jia. So he's seconds away from killing her when her good friend, maybe her best friend, I think her name is Young Ah, confesses in order to save Jia's life.
Yes.
So it's kind of this big sacrificial moment. And so Young Ah is taken away. We find out later in a vision, I did look it up, it is Young Ah that's being tortured, like having her teeth pulled out or something. And Atticus is holding her down.
Ah, all right.
So he's one of the people torturing Young Ah.
Okay.
Now, a little bit while later, Atticus is injured. He is now in the same hospital with Jia. Jia recognizes him as the guy that almost shot her in the face, killed her friend, and took her best friend away. So it's like, oh, you know what? I have one more person to kill. Even though I wasn't so hot on it, I think you'll do nicely. And so...
Yes, very Little Shop of Horrors.
Right. So she's plotting this out. We also see that her method...
Of course you do. Ha, 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 ha.
We see there's this earlier. There's when we see how she kills folks. There's the speed dating thing. She's having trouble. We wonder if her troubles meeting people are due to the fact that she is a spirit and not human. Like she's trying to pretend to be Judy Garland in a lot of ways.
Yes.
Hoping that works. And I don't know if that's what Jia would have done if the spirit wasn't in her, or is that the spirit, the Kumiho, attempting to replicate being human?
Yeah, I mean, it would certainly be. I mean, it would take dramatic stakes away if, Atticus was developing a relationship with a spirit that's going to leave. So,
gotcha. Okay.
And this whole thing about, you said that I wouldn't have any emotions or whatever. I mean, if it's only Atticus having a relationship with some supernatural force, then then.
So you think there's enough Jia in there? You think it's more of a Jia thing than a spirit thing? Yeah.
Yeah, I think she's
that's
separated from her feelings and from her memories, but I think it's really her.
Gotcha. So she does a speed dating thing. It doesn't really work out, but then she meets this guy and takes him back to her place. And we see that there's these, when they're having sex, these 9 tails come out, hook onto the guy, and then blow him up.
Yeah.
Actually, it's a guy, I recognize him from Heroes. I don't know the actor's name, but he played like...
He didn't play Hero?
He was not Hero. He was Hero's best friend.
Oh, okay.
In Heroes. Anyway, that's tough to say, but you know what I mean. Anyway, that guy blows up. Apparently he climbed a mountain. I'm like, oh, that guy. Anyway, he didn't seem like a bad guy necessarily, but, well, he's dead. So that's how she kills folks. So that's her intention, is to seduce Atticus, have sex with him, and then destroy him with her tails. She successfully woos him. There's this thing about the Count of Monte Cristo.
Yes.
He's got that book. He brought it with him because that's his father's favorite book. We've seen that earlier. We also knew earlier that the reason he went to war was to get away from his dad. But his dad was beating him. This is his way to escape. As opposed to being drafted, which we see that there's that other guy who's a Korean American is like, I'm only here because I got drafted. And Atticus had other reasons. But, so, he asked her to read the book for him. She spoils the book, but I like this moment.
Yes.
She spoils the book, but it's not the book.
No, she spoils the movie.
Spoiled the movie, and it's just kind of like she's trying to do like a dick move, really, right? She doesn't like him at this point, so she's like, "Oh, and here's what happens."
Yeah.
And then she finds out, "Oh no, actually, I know the book, and that's not the book." Which is also interesting because we're watching Lovecraft Country, which is a show about a book, and it's not the book. So anyway, it's kind of that was a fun little meta joke, I thought. But so she successfully is like, luring him in. She's doesn't realize it. She's starting to have feelings for him. They have the big moment where she's gonna kill him, and he admits he's a virgin. And boy, you know what? When I'm with you, I can forget all of the terrible things I do.
Yes.
And so that convinces her not to kill him in that moment. They, continue to have a relationship. She sends him away so she doesn't kill him. He misinterprets that. They have this big thing like, I was going to kill you because you killed my best friend. And, blah, 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 blah. There's a lot of stuff that goes on there. And we get to the point where they do have sex. She does see his memories, and she does see into the future where she interprets a vision she has as him dying.
Right.
He tells her, I've got enough points to go home. Do you want to come with me? She's like, hey, I got something to tell you first. Might scare you. I don't know. They end up having sex. She reveals her form.
Yes.
He is then freaked out about it.
Yes.
And runs off. She then...
well, part of that, though, is her seeing his whole history. So one of the things that happened as she is killing the people and taking, I guess, their souls is she connects to them, sees their whole life, and then finally they explode. And so with the initial time she was having sex, she was able to control it and not, when she took his virginity, she was able to control it and not reveal her true form or whatever. But this one time, though, the last time she did, and she was taking all his memories and everything and was able to throw him off before she killed him. And so the minute he was able to regain consciousness, said, what the fuck? And then she tried to explain that you're going to die. You should probably, not me killing you, no, you will die if you go back. And he's like, I'm getting out of here. Where are my shoes?
Now, but interestingly, we do see that somehow, once he's in the States, he is not averse to calling her, to talking to. It's like he's somehow, I don't know, say he's gotten over his fear of her, but he's not completely repulsed by her, right? As we see him in 1955.
Right.
So something has changed or maybe it's just time and distance.
Wait, you saying he sees her in the States?
Well, no, I'm just saying he calls her when he's in the States.
Right, he calls her when he's in the States, right. He still feels bad, or maybe he still feels a connection to her or something.
And he's remembering that she said, oh, by the way, if you go back, you're going to die. That's what he's like, how did you know?
Yeah.
But anyway, I'm just saying, it's interesting. I wonder how he technically feels about her now. You're right. In that moment, he was terrified of her, like, and this I was kind of, I guess, his first introduction to this world of horror,
as far as we know.
Mythological horror, I should say. Yeah, so he runs off. Then she then goes to the shaman, and
I'm looking through the events that transpire, like presumably after he leaves. Like one of them is he's buying a ticket to a bus or whatever to Chicago, and then once he's laying with a woman that does not actually is too dark to be Letty. Actually,
I think that might predate. I'm thinking if it's chronological, that's someone else he's having sex with, say in Florida. Then he's buying a ticket from Florida because we see him on the bus at the beginning of the season, right? So he's coming from Florida to Chicago. So I think that's him going to Chicago.
All right.
Then there's something about him being baptized or something. It looks like he's wearing a white shirt and there's water.
There's something weird going on with where he seems to be incapacitated or something, and it's
and then he's hooked up to a machine.
He's hooked up to something. And so that's probably the death thing there. Oh, and there's something where he's in water, where he's being baptized. So there's they're not giving us too much
of some kind. Right. he's involved because he's already been in one ritual. He'll be involved in another ritual apparently. But the thing is, like seeing that scene, I don't know that I would necessarily say he's dead, right? I mean, like he's like but he's not. It's not like he's in a grave and they put dirt on him. He's like, I don't know. I feel bad. I'm drooling.
Well, no. At some point, his head bows like he's dying or whatever.
Okay.
And
I'm just thinking if that's if she's just going on the vision.
How many lives have you seen while you're having sex and killing them? You know, she's the expert.
I will say that that's true. I will say that the effect was a little goofy. The thing where like her tails come over his eyes, and it's like it looked like he had like sock puppets on his face. I don't know. It's just like probably could have worked the CGI better on that, but anyway, whatever. It is what it is.
That is what it is.
It was creepy.
Yep, definitely creepy.
So we see this is pretty shocking. We knew Atticus said he did some bad things. We've now seen those bad things. What do you think of Atticus now that we've seen at least some of the bad things that he's done?
I assumed he did bad things. I mean, I assumed he killed people, and we saw him kill a person, and he tortured someone. I didn't assume that necessarily, but it's within the realm of bad things. Not sure what you're asking me.
My only thought is I'm thinking from the standpoint of Gia, especially once I see that vision of him assisting in the torture of her best friend. The fact that he killed the woman right next to her, who I assume was a friend of hers, she knew the woman. He was about to kill her, so put a gun to Gia's head, then tortured to death the woman that her best friend.
How do you know it's that same person?
I mean, it looked like it to me.
See, I looked and it could have been anybody.
All right.
And if it's her, then I think it's sloppy to not be more explicit than it is, because really it's her, like whatever. Good point. You would then, if it's supposed to carry some sort of weight with Gia, then she should have a reaction specifically to that and not to everything.
You're right, because that's my point. Is I can't imagine that she could like that guy. Like no matter how much he's like, oh man, I'm really sorry about it. Like that, threatening to offing my friend, torturing my best friend, that puts you off the we can have a relationship table, I would think. Now, obviously she has special circumstances because she's a vengeful spirit that's out there to kill folks, and I suppose the argument you can make is I'm giving him a second chance because I want to know that there's a second chance for me.
Right.
I'm a monster, but I'm not a monster. See, I'm a good person, even though I've killed 100 people. Right. I'm redeemable. So maybe it's that hope for redemption that she's giving to him as well. I'm just saying, like, those are some pretty terrible qualities to have in somebody that you are like, I love you. It would be hard to get over.
Comparison-wise, she's done much worse.
Yeah.
And although you could say it was kind of done to her, I guess. But I mean, pretty late in the game to be like, I'm kind of tired of doing this. Really, after the 98th one, you're tired.
It's just it's the fact that it's so personal to her, I guess, is my point. Like if he had killed 3 other people that she didn't know, which is like,
how does it play out afterwards in the story?
Okay.
I mean, how does it play out? Does he get there and then it's like, oh, I came to help you, but oh wait, remember that you did that bad thing? I mean, why is she coming if she's not going to help her? What point does it make? Well,
she obviously is. She is in love with him. I'm just wondering. I don't know that I buy it, but
I mean, other than a story beat where she's like, even though you did this bad stuff, I'm still here to help you. I just remembered after coming all this way that you've done something bad, and so it keeps me from helping you with this one. I don't understand how for story reasons that matters.
No, you're right. I think they've moved past it. I mean, I feel like the story has moved past it. Like, despite our natures, we have found a way to to bond. Now that said, love triangle coming up, right?
Yeah.
There's Letty, Gia, Atticus. So how do you see that?
I would be shocked if Gia doesn't die
Right. You got to feel like she's kind of marked at this
right,
point.
And
especially because
maybe Atticus is too. He might not be able to be forgiven for all that he's done. He might need to make an ultimate sacrifice, and then Letty lives on, because I feel like Letty hasn't done anything near on the level of either Gia or Atticus. We haven't seen her kill anybody. Maybe she has, and we just haven't learned it yet. But
that's interesting.
I shouldn't say anybody. Anybody that isn't attacking her.
I hadn't considered that. I've thought of Atticus as the face of the show.
He might be the face of the show, but it might be like, and here's the end of it with him dying.
Yep. Okay. All right. I could.
I mean, I certainly think it's far more likely for Montrose to die, and if Montrose dies, then maybe not.
I think Montrose and Gia, for various reasons, probably are not going to survive the season.
Yeah, I feel like I can imagine not only Letty still standing, but Hippolyta still standing as well.
We're going to see her next episode. They're going to focus on the orrery, and I assume we see her in like these past lives type thing, or like she's that time machine angle. Right. Anyway, we'll see how that plays out. There is a Hippolyta.
And possibly Ruby as well. Maybe probably Ruby. I mean, who knows though? But 3 women standing at the end of it wouldn't surprise me. And then some, mention of the fact of how corrupt masculinity and, too, in terms of, what everything that Christina's doing to sort of achieve power, which involves trying to sort of take over a patriarchy or whatever. So I don't know. I mean, I give it 50-50 in my opinion for whether Atticus. I can certainly see Atticus surviving, but
I feel like the odds are that he survives. But
she only gets 1 episode.
It's a hot take. It's a hot take. If Atticus dies, episode 10, you win the internet, sir.
Yeah, but Gia certainly, I don't see. I'd be surprised.
Yeah, she's killed 99 folks. Yeah. Just got 1 left. And so she's holding off for now.
Yep, 99 problems, but Tick ain't one.
Tick ain't one. Perfect. That's actually the title of the episode. No.
I'm surprised they didn't stick. Maybe that's coming in the next episode. That's what I predict.
Yeah.
I predict 99 problems in the next episode.
You're right. Like as long as they're doing the modern music thing, boy, you just stick that in there next time you see her in Chicago. Yep. So Meet Me in Daegu, obviously it's a play on Meet Me in St. Louis, which is that movie she's watching. Yep. We do hear a thing from Judy Garland at the end. It's a quote, apparently from Judy Garland near the end of her life, where she's basically saying, hey, all these people...
want something out of you?
Yeah, or like they didn't realize like the personality I was on the screen versus who I am in real life. And, those people that were criticizing me, they're dead now. I think is what she said, something like that. So the idea of that we have these, we can put out an image to people, an illusion in some ways, but there's also, we are people inside. We have complex emotions, and we see here, obviously, 2 very flawed individuals who are finding a way to come together and find joy. All right, so I was trying to find a Lovecraft quote that would go with this episode. A little tricky, but so what I went with is...
Tails coming out of armpits is what you found. Close enough.
Yes, that's a short story called Tails Coming Out of Armpits. So Meet Me in Daegu, it reminded me of, there is a short story that Lovecraft wrote called Dagon. It's a reach, but it is actually the subject matter. It does have a few similarities, and that's why I picked a quote from Dagon. Dagon is a short story about an American soldier in World War I. Now, Lovecraft died in the 30s, so he didn't even know World War II existed. So he could not have written about the Korean War. But, so his version, this story is American soldier, World War I, shipwrecked in the Pacific after the Germans sink his boat. He goes to this like deserted island. There he witnesses this sea creature, a creature from the deep that he can't explain. So a kind of his own mythological creature, essentially. He then escapes the island, but the horrors he's seen, he has this like PTSD from this moment. He's in a hospital trying to recover, but we find out that the whole story has been his suicide note, as he's unable to cope with the horrors that he witnessed on this island. So here is this guy's almost like his last words, essentially.
Okay.
I cannot think of the deep sea without shuddering at the nameless things that may at this very moment be crawling and floundering on its slimy bed, worshipping their ancient stone idols and carving their own detestable likenesses on submarine obelisks of water-soaked granite. I dream of a day when they may rise above the billows to drag down in their reeking talons the remnants of puny, war-exhausted mankind, of a day when the land shall sink and the dark ocean floor shall ascend amidst universal pandemonium. So, again, guy has issues.
Yes,
so in this case, he's basically saying this guy is like, you know what? After this world war, screw it. I hope that this thing I found, this race of creatures under the sea will destroy mankind who's kind of lost its privilege to be on Earth and takes us out and sinks us under the sea. Like, oh, okay then. Good on you, guy. But so anyway, that's a Lovecraft version of Meet Me in Daegu. I think Judy Garland had a song.
I think she did.
There was some very interesting things about Korean culture. I got the feeling that, because there's this big push for people to, get married, find a man. Yeah. And I got the feeling that young the friend, was not only secretly a communist, but I think she was gay. I mean, there was a lot of hand holding.
That's the impression they got too. She certainly seemed to have a greater interest in her friend.
So that was interesting that everybody's got secrets.
Yes.
And
too, they're also making a stark contrast between young people and the ideals that they have and the older people too. I mean, her friend is saying that you must be yourself or whatever, and not feel guilty about being interested in American things and not be so tied to finding a man like your mother wants. But really, what she was saying is, that sort of like the excitement of the American ways and more liberal ways, I think, really is what people are straining towards.
Well, also I like the fact that this idea that the mom wants her to find a man is in itself. It's like, I want you to kill 99 extra folks so that I can get my daughter back. So find a man is a lot more sinister in the case of like, oh, okay.
Yeah, I don't know what she got down to the 99th one. It's like, find the two more. One to kill and one to marry,
Right. Marry, kill.
Yeah.
So that is that episode. I thought it was a really, really well done episode. I actually liked it a lot. Good. It is a bottle episode in a way, although it is going to impact the future. But we see a lot about what drives Atticus.
Yes.
We see, I don't know. I enjoyed this departure in some ways for the season.
Yeah, it was nice that they took the time to really develop this part of the story, and I hope they don't, have someone kill her in the next episode. I guess we saw all that happen in one episode.
Right.
The shaman,
because it is dangerous sometimes. There are series where they'll do this season. One episode is not related to what's happening here, and it can get But no, I felt like this really was engaging, and it really, so it didn't fall into that trap.
Right.
So good on it for that. We will be back talking about episode 7, and also we'll be talking about The Boys. So come on back for that. Thank you so much,
You're
Paul.
welcome.
Appreciate it, sir. And we'll see you next time.
Bye.